hopefully you can let me know then if sound is coming through. Yeah, see now I think the sound is working. I see the green bar is bobbling up and down. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Can hear me? Okay. Will I keep that stream up then? Perfect. Yeah. Okay. I'll give it. I'll wait 5 minutes or so anyway. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. No problem. Thanks for the help, Carla. Bye. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Hopefully now you can hear me loud and clear. Really sorry about that. It's fine with YouTube sometimes. The sound just for whatever reason doesn't come on for us, but I'm going to give it a minute or two just to let everyone back. We'll get back into the flow, but again, do apologize for that. Hopefully it found us back okay. And I know the Irish Cancer Society are going to send the link out again for people to tune in. So, as I said, I'm just going to give it a minute or two there to let everyone come in. Again, all you want to have is a good sturdy chair, having your weights at the ready or tins or bottles, and we'll get our good workout in yet. But again, sorry about that, and hopefully you found this okay again. So, what I think I will do is just go, we won't go through the full, hopefully we're kind of ready and warmed up, ready to go, but I'll just bring us through a light little bit of movement before going full pace with our weights. Okay, so I'm just going to bring it into a light march, just kind of get us back in the rhythm, get us moving again. So there's maybe a couple of people tune in there. So just marching, keeping myself moving. Just going to adjust that camera down a little bit, just so you can see the feet okay there. So again, I'm just marching it out, and then just digging the heels. Again, this is just to bring us right back into the zone, just to prepare us, have us warmed up and switched on. Digging the heels out. And then again, just bringing it back to a march. Okay, so I'm just marching out. And then again, just to dig the heels out in front. And let's just go for those same two movements one last time, just to make sure we are warmed up, ready to go. Okay, so again, just back into a nice light march, just bringing that heart rate up, just switching everything on, loosening out all the joints. And then again, just lightly digging the heels out. So just digging those heels out in front. And again, sorry about that if you're just tuning in now. We just had an issue with sound, so we've just started up a new stream. So very sorry about that little delay. And you've not missed anything. We've just reset here. We're just finishing off our warm-up. Well, very welcome along again, and I do apologise about that. Great to have you with us again. Digging the heels. Okay, so that's our warm-up finished. What I want to do is push into our aerobic block of work. So I'm going to put all this work on the clock. I have a little timer, and the purpose of this aerobic movement is to keep yourself active and moving. So we will perform 3 rounds, 4 movements broken up by marching. But what I want us to do is just to get straight into it with a little bit of marching, and I'll explain this as I go, instead of me talking for ages. So let's get moving. And then I'm going to demonstrate movements, and we can perform them together. If you want to perform any of these movements seated, you can perform them from a seated position. Just adapt, keep yourself moving. What am I looking for from this overall block of work is equivalence to being maybe on a bike, treadmill, a very brisk walk. We want a little bit of intensity, a little bit of challenge, and we're going to do that through some of our movements. So just grabbing everything here. I'm going to start off with my first movement, which is a front raise and toe taps back. Okay, so how this looks. Movement number 1. What I want to do is tap the toes back and raise the arms in front. I'll show you that from the side just to make sure you're okay. How I do that one. Tap the toes behind, raise the arms in front. Okay, tapping and raising the arms. So all these movements are kind of nice aerobic movements, but they also serve a purpose. So this is really nice on the shoulders and just getting a little extension of the hip as well. If you prefer to perform this in a seated position, you're just sitting in your chair, same lifting of the arms in front, with a little tap back of the toes. So we'll just keep ourselves moving, raising the arms, tapping the toes behind. Again, you're doing this movement at a pace that is comfortable to you, just at a nice moderate intensity, giving yourself a challenge, but not so much that you're completely breathless and uncomfortable. Just finish 3, 2, 1, and back to a march. The march, or 20 seconds of march we take here, can be used as kind of rest and recovery. If you find the movements quite easy, go with a nice moderate pace with the march. But if you find it a little bit tough, use your march to kind of rest, recovery, catch your breath. So, second movement, arms by my side. Step to the side, lift the arms, and then I'll do the same to the left. So just step to the side, lifting the arms. So just step to the side, raising the arms out. And step to the side, raise the arms. If I find this one a little bit uncomfortable, what you could do is, and I'll demonstrate, you could just drop to one arm. If you're in a seated position, you're performing the same movement of the arms, and just tap the toes out side to side. So you can always adapt and just change any movement. The idea, as I say, is to give myself a little bit of a challenge here. And back to march, okay? So it's a movement broken up with marching in between. And again, that march can be used to kind of catch your breath, rest, recover. Moving into your third movement now in a couple of seconds. What this will look like, arms out in front, and press the arms down, drive the knee up. If you feel in any way unbalanced, we're going to hold on to that chair and just lift the knees up, okay? But if it feels okay, press the arms down, drive the knee up. What I would say as well, I'm keeping that body straight, so I try not to bend forward. Rather, it's driving the knee up, pressing the arms down. So all nice and the dynamic aerobic movements. Drive the knee, press the arms down. Breathing all the time, never holding your breath, and going at a pace that's comfortable for you. And down, back to your march. Just going to move this out of the way. So back to your march. Okay. And we'll have 1/4 final movement, and then we repeat everything again. So I'm just kind of catching my breath here. And let's settle. 4th movement. You can grab a chair for this one. Lift the right leg out. Lift the left leg out. I keep my upper body tall, and I just lift one leg out at a time. If that's not necessary, maybe you don't need a chair, just lightly lift one leg out at a time. Keep the hands together. Okay? But I just wanted to show you that with the chair first. So if you feel in any way unbalanced, just to hold on to your chair as you lift leg out one at a time. The sides. Just lifting the leg out. Making sure you feel comfortable and balanced. If you're in a seated position, I want you to perform the same action, lifting the legs out, one at a time. Last couple of seconds, 3, 2, 1, and back to march. Okay, so there are 4 movements. We kind of discovered them in round 1. What I want you to now do is, if that all felt quite easy, not too hard, I want to step it up a little bit and go a little bit of intensity this second round, nice and fluid with the movements. If anything felt uncomfortable, just to adapt, slow the pace down a little bit, or maybe to perform any of them in a seated position. But if everything felt good, let's go again. Front raise and tap back. I think I'll show this from the side. Raise the arms, tap the toes behind. Raise the arms, tap the toes behind. And we just continue on. So again, I'm just kind of nice and fluid with all these movements. So just raising the arms, tapping the toes behind. Breathing all the time, never holding my breath. Raising the arms, tapping the toes behind. You just keep going. If you find the pace a little bit tough, slow it down. If you find it's all quite comfortable, don't be afraid to go with a little bit of challenge and exertion here. And back to march. Again, that rest, the march for me can be used as rest and recovery, or if I feel very comfortable, I continue on at a nice moderate pace. We will then move into our second movement. So, arms by my side, step to the side, raising the arms. Okay, so we'll just continue on. Step to the side, raising the arms. And as ever, I'll always keep repeating it, but just breathing all the time. And again, if you're just tuning in, we're not far into it. Apologies, there was just a little issue with the sound, so we had to start a new stream. So I just see a couple coming on there. So apologies for if you did lose your sound there. You've not missed much, don't worry. We're still going to get our full workout in here. Just step in when you're ready. If you need a couple of seconds just to kind of adjust, get ready, that's fine. Just join in when you feel ready. Just working our aerobic work here. Working the lungs, working the heart. And back to march. So now I'm back to my march. Again, I just keep myself moving here. So this is just all about movements. I think that equivalent of a brisk walk, being on a treadmill, on a bike, you're just giving your body a challenge, also driven by certain movements. So, arms out, drive the knee up, press the arms down. So just drive the knee, press the arms. If you're feeling unbalanced, I want you to grab onto your chair and just drive the knees up. A good, powerful drive of the knees. And if you're in a seated position, you mimic the same action. Knee up, arms pressed down. Just pressing the arms, driving the knee. Breathing all the time, never holding my breath. So we're working off kind of 4 movements broken up by marching. 2, 1. So now I come back to march. What that march is, it keeps me moving, it keeps me active. But if I find it a little bit tough, it just gives me a chance to recover. So I could slow the pace right down or keep it going nice and moderate if everything feels okay. 4th movement. Hold on to the chair for this one if you feel in any way unbalanced. And all I want to do is just lift legs out one at a time to the sides. But as I say, if you feel in any way unbalanced, just grab onto the chair. And to be honest, if you have a chair nearby, I would just use it like that. And just lifting out, but just to make sure you can kind of clearly see that action, lifting out to the sides. So again, my upper body should stay nice and straight, and I just open out from my hips here. Again, just kind of nice, controlled, fluid movement here. Breathing again all the time. Last couple of seconds. And down. So rest. Back to march. Well, rest is the wrong word. We'll bring it back to march. Again, if I feel in the pace of that, see, I'm a little bit tough, I feel tired after that, I go nice and slow and kind of recover. If it all feels comfortable, as we approach that 3rd round, go continue to march at a nice pace, giving yourself challenge. So, next movement, final round, front raise and toe taps. So we just raise the arms in front, tap the toes behind. So again, you can see I'm just kind of moving all the time, giving my body a little bit of challenge. Here, a little pant in my breath now. That's a sign I'm kind of working hard, giving myself a challenge. I'm not completely breathless that I can't get words out, but there is a little pant in my voice as I'm working hard. Last couple of seconds. Remembering just doing your best with all these movements. Adapt anything. Slow it down if you're finding it tough. Go at a nice kind of moderate pace if everything feels okay. And back to march. So again, we have an idea now of the movements. If it all feels pretty comfortable so far, keep going at a nice moderate pace with the march. If you're finding the intensity a bit tough, use that march to slow right down, catch your breath. Second movement, arms by your side. Step to the side, raise the arms. And we'll just keep moving. If I'm finding this one tough, I might just drop to one arm at a time. So that could look like this. So just if you're finding you're losing a little bit of steam here, I need to slow it down. And so really, again, we've done a lot of work on the shoulders and kind of movements from the hip as well. But all within the overall context of aerobic, just that we keep ourselves moving, giving ourselves that challenge, building up endurance. About 10 seconds here, doing really well. Just finishing out and back to march. Okay, so really good stuff. Going to go into our final two movements, again, broken up by march, using this as kind of rest recovery if needed. So my next one will be my knee drive with arms pull down, okay? So arms out in front, press the arms down, and just lift the knee up or drive the knee up. And again, if I feel unbalanced, I hold on to my chair and just focus on lifting those knees up. If I'm in a seated position, I perform the same action, just lifting the knees up, and I can press those arms down. And again, you can hear me breathing there maybe. I'm just going to always keep inhale, exhale, important, never holding my breath. Going at a nice moderate pace that feels comfortable to me, giving myself a challenge. And back to march. And again, if you're really feeling the pace, slow it right down now. Catch your breath. Use this march as recovery. If it all feels comfortable, keep going at a nice moderate pace with your march. We're going to move into that fourth and final movement to finish that full aerobic circuit today. So remember, if you have your chair beside you, just lifting the legs out to the sides. Okay. And again, just from the front view, make sure you can see, just lifting legs out. And again, I just want to make sure that upper body stays straight. And again, I can hold on to the back of my chair if I like here. Just a nice comfortable lift of one leg at a time, side to side. We'll keep going. Still breathing all the time, not holding my breath. Last couple of seconds. And rest. Okay, so that's your aerobic circuit completed. What I'd recommend, just grab a drink of water. And we're going to move into our strength work next. So as I said, the purpose there is building up your cardiovascular endurance. So think of things like being able to go for a brisk walk, being on a bike, treadmills. That's the kind of equivalent effort you're looking for there. And just that we have that endurance performing these tasks. And I said, you're really just working the lungs, the heart, building up that endurance. Next, the focus will be on strength work. And so this is using dumbbells or tins if we have them. And we're going to use body weight as well. Okay, so we're going to put the clock on. Again, I'm going to set up my timer here. You can do the movements, adapt them to a seated position if you prefer, or you can perform them standing with me. So we have our clock ready to go. Movement number 1, I'm going to go for a weighted sit to stand or squat. So very quickly, if the squat isn't the movement that you like or want to do today, what I want you to go for is a leg extension. So just to extend the legs out one at a time. If you're happy with the squat or sit to stand, what I want to do is hold the weight in at my chest and keeping the feet hip width, my knees soft, chest out. I'll squat down and back up whilst holding a weight at my chest. I can either squat and just kind of tip the chair here, or I can go for a full sit to stand. Really, it's whatever works best for you. And if you want that without weight, just to get rid of the weight for this one. So let's set our timer and let's get going. Okay, so we're going to start in about 15 seconds here. I think it's just worth having the chair, even if you're very comfortable with the squat. Maybe it's not necessary, but I just like to keep it behind me. Make sure mechanically I keep this good. So feet hip width, knees soft, chest out, holding your weight. Squat down and back up. Squat down, back up. So I like to kind of just lightly tap the chair with my bum. If you prefer, as I demonstrate now, just to go for a full sit to stand, that's absolutely fine. You're just picking the level that works for you. And if you're doing this seated, you're extending those legs out one at a time. You're going to work the same part of the leg from a seated position. Control and kind of speed of movement is important for me. I like to not rush through a squat or a sit to stand. I don't want to bounce up, down. Just want to control down and then press back up. Also, my knees are important here. They stay kind of in line with my toes, not caving in at all. So I keep nice and strong as I press up. Excellent work. Second movement, what I want us to do is take our 2 weights, and I'm going to perform this in a seated position. So this is a good way to work the chest, and sometimes I've noticed pressing movements can be difficult. So this is a nice way to work our chest. Sit comfortable in your chair, hold the weights by your side, and just press the weights forward. Okay, the weights do not come above about chest height, and they just naturally merge together as I press forward. What I want to do is keep my body straight in this position. The only physical movement is through my arms, and I think of kind of squeezing my chest together here. Squeezing and then just stretching back out. I don't need to push those weights above chest height, so I'm not looking to get up to shoulder level or anything like that. Just up to chest. Showing you that from the side can be helpful as well, I find. You'll see how I just kind of squeeze through my chest. Just squeezing through my chest. And I'll get one more. And rest down, okay? So that's a seated movement. I prefer to do that in a seated position, just that you keep your back straight. And by all means, if you prefer standing, but that's one I would actually rather do in a seated position. Pausing the clock briefly. Next movement, we're going to go for a reverse lunge. How this looks. I'm going to hold the back of my chair. Give a good view. I step back with my right leg. Body staying straight, I drop down and press back in. So if this movement doesn't look good, if you're not comfortable dropping down and putting weight on that leg, what I want you to do is just really taper it and not go for that full descent. Maybe you just want to tap back and get a small little bend of the knee. If that's still just not something you're happy with and you're performing this seated, I want you to just march. Keep yourself moving and we'll go for a march instead. So I'm going to lead with our lunge. Holding the back of my chair, right foot steps back, drop down and back in. And I'll just continue stepping back with my right leg. Think 3 parts. Step back, drop down and press back in. So my front leg is stationary in this position. It's taking weight. It's doing a lot of work here, even though it's that right leg that physically moves and goes back. A couple of points. Step back just as far as you're comfortable. Don't go so far back that you feel unbalanced. Keep a little bit of width between your feet. And again, only drop to a level that's comfortable. I don't need my knee to touch the floor or anything like that. Just a small little drop as far as is comfortable to you, and then back in. But remember, if you're still not comfortable, going for that march instead. Okay. Swapping sides next. So now I'm going to work on my left leg. But again, if you're not comfortable with the depth and kind of range of that movement, just turn it into a little step back with a little knee bend. So just really strip it right back if you're not happy with that. So let's go. Hands on chair, left foot back, drop down, and press back in. Step back, drop down, and back in. And we'll just continue on. Step back, drop down, press in. Again, if I'm not happy with this, I'm going to really strip it right back. And you can see how I can just start to get the first kind of part of that movement and just build it up naturally. But again, if maybe the knees, for any reason, this just isn't a good movement, if it causes pain, immediately to stop it. And we'll just go for a march instead. Nothing wrong if this just isn't a movement you like. Just march. Keep yourself active for this one. And down. Super stuff, okay? So next, I'm going to take hold of my two weights. Lateral raise next, where I raise the weights out to my side, standing or seated. Okay? So holding the weights by my side. I know it just jumped around, but just lift the weights to your side, pause, slowly back down. Again, those weights will not go above shoulder height. Just lift out, pause, slowly back down. If you find this movement tough, drop it back to one arm at a time. And that's absolutely fine if you need to do it like that, just with one arm. If you find there's any kind of movement in the back, just to sit down and give your body that little bit of support as you raise the weights out. We'll just continue on. If that all feels okay. Final reps. Just lifting out to your sides, working the shoulders, and back down. Okay. So, final movement. Sorry, I was going to get rid of the weights there. Keep holding your weight. This is a march type movement. What I want to do is hold the weights by my side. I want to tap the chair with my right foot, tap the chair with my left foot, whilst holding on to my weights. Okay. If I don't feel comfortable with that, step back. Maybe I just want to get a little lift or a controlled march as I hold the weights. If you're comfortable, we can tap the chair. If you're performing this seated, just sitting in your chair, holding your two weights and lifting those knees up as high as comfortable. So there is a couple of parts. Just keeping that body strong, tapping the chair with my foot. Again, I like to get that little bit of height and to tap the chair. But again, if you prefer just to march, maybe your chair is a little bit too high, that's fine. Holding the weights and just keeping ourselves moving. Tapping, keep going, last couple of seconds. One, and rest. Okay, so we'll rest our weights down. That's your first round of the circuit complete. We'll perform that again. So what I want to do is just take a little kind of check in with yourself. How did all that feel? If it felt good, kind of ready to go again, that's great. If anything felt painful, change the exercise. So don't persist if a movement causes pain, any kind of discomfort. We'd always say just leave that exercise and we'll go for something else. But if it all felt okay, we will go for the same again. and give ourselves a little bit of challenge. But again, do just adapt, change anything that you need. Okay, so grab yourself a quick drink of water if you need there, and we will go again. So just going to quickly grab that. So I'm going to set the timer on again, and let's go. About 20 seconds here. So movement number 1. I'm going to take hold of a dumbbell or weight, tin, buckle, whatever you're using. I'm going to bring my feet about hip width apart, my knees nice and soft, chest is out. Holding on to your weight, I want to squat down and straight back up. So really important is that my hips are moving here. They're going down and back. If I want, I can turn this into a full sit, as I now demonstrate. And remember, if you're going for the seated option, we're just working our leg extension. We're just adding a little bit of weight to this movement if that feels comfortable. If you don't want to use the weight, that's fine. Couple of points. So make sure those knees stay nicely in line with the toes, that my knees are never caving in here. I'm still looking forward, and my back stays nice and straight. So whatever option of the movement, whether it's a sit to stand or a squat, I just want to make sure those hips are going down and back in towards the chair here, that I'm not folding forward. Keep my position strong. Excellent work, really good. So, chest sweep. So, taking my 2 weights, sit a little bit closer here. So again, this is one I like to perform seated. I just find it gives me that little bit of comfort with my back that we're going to keep a strong position. Hold the weights by your side, press forward, and slowly back down. So just pressing through, slowly back down. I like to think exhale as I press, inhale as I come back. Again, the weights will kind of naturally merge together. And I just think squeezing my chest. The weight does not need to come above about chest height. So I'm not looking to push up to shoulder alignment. Just pressing forward, getting a nice squeeze in your chest. And exhale as I press. Last couple of seconds. And once more. And back down. Resting your weights down. We'll go for our lunge next. So, how this movement will look. I'm going to have my chair out in front. Remember, if you didn't like this lunge movement that I showed, what I want you to do is to just kind of lightly tap back. If it feels comfortable, you're holding your chair, step back with the right foot, drop down, press up. My upper body stays nice and tall. Step back, drop down, and press back in. I think 3 for parts. Step, drop, press back in. Again, I'm just going to work in a range that feels good, not stepping so far back that I feel uncomfortable. Not dropping down so low that I feel uncomfortable. If I can, I like to keep that body nice and straight rather than tilting forward. But again, I can really strip this one back. Just lightly tap and just get a small little knee bend. Remember, if that lunge just isn't good at all, marching instead. You can always change. And rest. Okay, so we're going to work the opposite leg. You might find one leg feels pretty good with that movement. Another leg feels a little bit weaker and unbalanced. So do be mindful. There's nothing wrong with maybe one side feeling a bit stronger or one side a bit weaker. If good, we're going to go again. Hands on chair. Now my left foot. Step back, drop down, and press back in. Step back, drop down, and back in. And we'll continue. Again, 3 parts. Step back, drop down, back in. So there's no rush on a movement like this. Take your time. Just make sure you're working in a range and depth that feels good, not causing any pain or discomfort. If you're not happy with this lunge, maybe you just want to go for a very controlled step back or just kind of tapping the toes behind. If it's just not working, not a movement you like, marching instead. So either way, we'll keep ourselves active and moving. Step back, drop down, and in. Perfect. Next movement, into our lateral raise. So working the shoulders again here. Move that chair a little bit out of the way. So, a couple of seconds on the clock, and then let's begin. Holding the weights by my side, lift out, shoulder height, back down. Again, those weights don't need to be perfectly in line with my shoulder. Just lifting as high as is comfortable, but not pushing beyond shoulder level. If I'm finding this tough, I might just drop back to one arm at a time. And if I feel I need to sit, that's fine as well here. I exhale as I raise the weights out. Inhale as I lower. I like to go with a little bit of control here, just so that I don't swing the weights up and down. There's a little bit of control. A little pause, slowly back down. Lift out and pause, slowly back down. We'll keep going, last couple of seconds. And 1. Perfect. Final movement. It's going to set up. I'm going to have my chair. Holding your 2 weights, I'm going to lightly tap the chair with my toes. If that's not comfortable, don't need to tap the chair. If you want, you can sit down and march with the 2 weights. So, holding my weight, I tap with my right foot, tap with my left foot. My upper body stays nice and strong, and I just lightly tap the chair. If I feel uncomfortable, maybe your chair isn't really for this, step it back and just go into a march. Okay? If you like, you can just tap the toes. I just like to physically have that little aim of tapping to that height. I'm not resting my weight down, just lightly tapping the chair. We'll just keep going. We'll hear that clock soon. So I'm holding a little bit of weight, a little bit of endurance in the shoulders, working those hips as I lift my knees up. Core is strong, upper body is strong. 1 and rest. Okay, so we'll rest the weights down. Just grab ourselves a quick drink of water there. Yes, I'm out of the screen there for a minute. Just grab yourself a drink. Worth having. And we can go 1 more round. Okay, so again, I always say with these circuits, you do what you can. Maybe if that feels like a lot of work and you've done enough, that's absolutely fine. If you're comfortable, I'm going to lead 1/3 and final round. And I know people have mentioned to me with the workout, some people have broken it up. They did half and then came back and did the other half later. So anything like that is fine. It's really just about incorporating physical activity throughout the day. So nothing wrong with breaking it up if you like to do it that way. But if all feels good, we will go with 1 last round. Remember, any of the movements cause pain, discomfort, please do just leave that exercise out and swap. So let's set the clock. We'll go for 1 final round here. Okay, so movement number 1. I'm going to grab my chair. And we're going to go for our sit to stand or squat. Holding the weight up on my chest. My feet hip width. My knees are soft. Chest is out. And I will squat. Or I can go for a full sit to the chair. Either way, I want to make sure those hips down and back towards the chair, just so we don't crumple or cave forward at all in this position. Tough movement, whether squatting or sit to stand. So just go at a nice, comfortable pace. You're not rushing. I'm not jumping up and down. I'm separating each rep. If you're in a seated position, remember just extending the legs out here, one at a time. Maybe the movement started off fine. Maybe this third round it might feel a little bit tougher. And that's, again, just natural. I'm going to tire out a little bit as we go. My knees are still staying strong. They're in line with the toes. They're not caving in. To get my last rep. Excellent start. So let's move into movement 2. 2 dumbbells or weights, tins, water, whatever you're using. Again, I like to sit down for this movement. Have a little bit of support for my back, and I'm holding the weights by my side. And let's begin. Press the weight forward, slowly back down. Press forward, slowly back down. Exhale as I press. The weights naturally merge or kind of drift in together. And the finish or top of the position is weights in line or height with my chest. Not looking to push beyond that height. Just to show from the side as well how that looks. You can see those nice kind of straightening out, pressing the weights forward. Think of a sweeping motion here, just pressing the weights through. And again, just reaching a height in line with my chest. Last couple of seconds. And I'll get one more rep. And down. Okay, so into our lunge next. So how this one looks, remember again, I want you to pick the level of this movement that feels good. If you're okay with the lunge, we're going to go for that. If you prefer to just kind of lightly tap back, that's fine. Not a good movement for you, marching instead. So I'll demonstrate the lunge. Hands on chair, right foot back, straight body drops down and presses back in. Step back, drop down, press in. So again, step back, drop down, press in. Again, couple of points. Step back only as far as you're comfortable with here. Drop down only as far as comfortable. I'd avoid going too far down. I don't want to bring knee to the floor. I just want to work in a comfortable depth here. Keeping that body tall if I can. Might be a small little bit of lean, that's okay. But overall, maintaining a nice straight position. And rest. Again, if you're not happy with that movement, maybe you'd prefer to just very lightly tap the toes back with a little knee bend and not going for the full drop, okay? Or the full lunge, as it were. So, if it feels good, left side now. Hands on back of the chair. Step back, drop down, and press back in. So 3 phases. Step back, drop down, press in. But always working in a range and depth that where I feel strong and comfortable in. I feel that front leg really active, taking lots of weight, and left side is where the physical movement is. Remember, if you're not liking the lunge or any variant of it, marching instead. Again, take your time, never rushing this movement. So we get our final reps. I'm going to hear that clock now. And once more. And rest. Okay. Move the chair out. Final 2 movements. Actually turn that to the side. So lateral raise next. I grab 2 dumbbells. I'm gonna hold the weights by my side, and we're just going for a lateral raise. So lift out to the side, back down. Remember, if you're running out of a bit of steam on this third round, you could just drop one arm at a time, and you should find that'll just give you a little bit more power to finish the movements out. Weights do not need to go above shoulder height, and even if I'm not perfectly in line, that's okay. Just lifting roughly until the weights are in line with your shoulder, but with a little pause and a little control on the way down, just so we don't swing the arms at any point. Very controlled raise and lowering back down. Exhale as I raise. Inhale as I lower. Just going to finish out, last couple of reps. And back down. Excellent. So we'll lower the weights down and we'll finish out our last movement next. Okay. So final movements. Taking hold of your 2 weights, and we're going to tap our chair out in front. So holding the weights, a couple of seconds, 3, 2, 1, tap and tap. So right foot tap the chair, left foot tap the chair. Again, if I don't like this movement with the chair, I'm going to step back and just bring it into a natural march. To say, sometimes I just like to add the chair just as a physical kind of point to a hit. So I'm lifting the knees up, a little bit of power, connecting with my hip, holding the weights, a little bit of endurance through those arms and shoulders. Going at a pace that feels comfortable, never feeling unbalanced. And exactly the same movement if in a seated position. Lifting the knees, bearing the 2 weights. So it's going to finish out. Last couple of reps. We'll hear that clock shortly. 2, 1, and rest. Okay, so we can lower our 2 weights down. I'm just going to turn my clock off here, so we stop shouting at us, and we will rest. Okay, so now final part, we just want to cool ourselves down. Take a couple of stretches. So again, these can be performed standing or seated. I'm going to lead in a standing position. If you're seated, I just say to sit forward a little bit in your chair. Movement number 1. I want to bring hands behind, hands together, arms straight. I'm just going to lightly pull back. So I'm just going to stretch out my shoulders here. And you'll notice I haven't kind of bent or changed my upper body position. And rest down. Keep hands together. Pull back again. Nice straight arms, pull back. I'm going to hold position. And back down. We'll go for that one more time. Hands together. Pull back. And down. Next, just to stretch out my back, what I'm going to do is bring hands together. I like to bring fingers together. Straighten the arms out. Just stretching those arms right in front. And I think of widening, stretching my upper back in this position. And hold for a couple of seconds. And back in. And then again, press out, straighten the arms out and hold position. And rest. Next, just to get a stretch over kind of opening of the chest. Arms by my side. Pull back. And you'll see how I kind of rise my chest up or just puff that chest open. My arms are pulled back, getting a little squeeze of the shoulder blades, opening out the shoulders as well. Just going to hold position. And relax back in. So again, reset. Arms pull back, open out your chest. Hold that position. Again, squeezing shoulder blades, shoulders getting a little stretch here as well. Chest puffed out. And back down. Okay, we'll just sit down for the final two. We'll just move into the lower body. Keep it simple. And what I'll do is sit comfortably into my chair, right knee up, hold on to that knee, and just lightly raise that knee up towards chest and hold. So a nice stretch of the lower back. Might feel our hip and that glute a little bit as well. I'm just going to hold for a couple of seconds. And then straighten that same right leg out. Point your toes forward away from your body. And then pull the toes back in towards yourself. And rest down. Left leg, I'm going to raise that knee up, holding on to my knee. Gently pulling knee up towards chest. So again, I think of the knee rising up rather than me bending forward. Hold position. Couple of seconds. So again, I think in my lower back, glute, hip might feel these areas. And then I'll stretch that leg out, pointing the toes forward away from my body. Again, just a nice hold, and then pull back, toes in towards my body. And rest. And then just finally, just to make sure we feel nice and relaxed. A little breathing, so very simple. Inhale through the nose. Slow exhale out the mouth. Inhale through nose. Exhale out mouth. 3 more times. 2 more. Once more. Perfect. So that's us finished for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. That's a collaboration between Seal Blue Ireland and the Irish Cancer Society, just to bring exercise at home. So thanks very much for tuning in. Any questions, let me know. Any feedback, do please let me know. And again, very sorry about the sound issue at the start. Just the nature of these home sessions. Sometimes YouTube, we do have a couple of issues, but thanks for alerting me to that. And hopefully you found the session okay there in the end. But we'll be back next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So Wednesday at 10 next week. Thanks very much. And again, any questions, just let me know. Thanks very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week.